Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm your host, Bob Pompeani. We have a lot to get into tonight, including the Pirates. Should they reinvest in a trade talks with Vasquez, maybe Marte in this offseason? What should they do? We'll get into that. We'll talk about college football, which begins this week, and which team locally will do better. Andrew Luck, retirement, or did he quit on his team? We'll talk about that, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers, who are now 3-0 in the preseason, winning tonight 18-6 down in Nashville. And he'll do the talking. Is our panel left to right on your television screen? We have Andrew Fillipponi, The Pony Show on CBS National Radio, but part of the PM team, 2 to 6 here on 93.7 The Fan. In the middle, it's Mr. Will Graves, outstanding journalist with the Associated Press, and to the right, Jason Mackey, beat writer and one of the best in the biz with the Post-Gazette for the Pirates. All right, we're going to start with tonight's backup quarterback, Andrew Fillipponi. Is it now Mason Rudolph's job to lose?
Yeah, I don't think he'll lose it because I'm guessing we're going to get the Ducky Hodges show Thursday in Carolina.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing. I mean, and you're going to be there, Bob, front and center to try to put lipstick on that baby. Look, as far as I'm concerned, they've invested and hyped Mason Rudolph to the point where in year 2, he should be able to beat out a former 4th-round pick as the backup quarterback. I know me personally, I've said this on Twitter, I would shop Rudolph. I would get on the phone with the Colts right now. They're going to go with Jacoby Brissett, but behind him, they don't have a backup quarterback because Chad Kelly's on the suspended list. So I'm not married to Mason Rudolph. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, and if you could get a draft pick back for him, I would do it.
I don't know. I mean, I think why not just call the Colts about, Josh Dobbs?
Because no one wants Josh Dobbs, Will.
Do we know that no one wants Josh Dobbs?
He's not very good.
I don't think he's very bad. I mean, let's
make him the backup quarterback here if he's so good. Make him.
But you're saying he's not very good. But you're saying, hey, let's trade Rudolph, and then Dobbs is the backup.
Well, right, because Ben Roethlisberger with that offensive line usually plays 15 or 16 games a year. Will.
Well, I mean,
they just gave him a 3-year extension.
Do you think they're going to do better than a 3rd-round pick for Mason Rudolph right now?
Well, I guess everybody had a 1st-round grade on him. Let's find out if Chris Ballard in Indianapolis think.
I don't think everybody had a 1st-round grade on him. I think the Steelers had a 1st-round grade.
Right.
I wouldn't trade Rudolph just for the sake of trading him. If you think he's good, if you think he can help your team at all, which I think the Steelers do, I'm not sure how shopping him for less than what you at least think he deserves or what he has earned is the smart move. I'd rather hang on to him in case something does happen.
I mean, and to your point, Pony, because of that offensive line, if Ben does get hurt, I think Rudolph's better equipped to kind of run that offense. If the offensive line was terrible and the quarterback had to run for their lives, and I would say Josh Dobbs would be the guy you would keep. But I think Rudolph is the guy that if Ben does something, if a freak play happens, I would keep Rudolph.
If your understudy is Daniel Jones or Dwayne Haskins, you keep your backup quarterback because you're grooming him to be the successor. That's not the case here. Bill Belichick does this all the time. He flipped Jacoby Brissett after 1 year to the Colts to get a wide receiver. And maybe it's not a draft pick. The Colts are a very balanced team. If they've got a backup tight end or a safety who can help this team win right now, I would consider that for Mason Rudolph because I think his upside, Bob, is very minimal. I think he's going to be a backup quarterback pretty much his entire career. He makes sweet music with James Washington in August. But if they liked Rudolph so much, I don't think they give Ben Roethlisberger an extension
but if
this offseason.
If your evaluation of him is that, why is another team going to look at him and say, here, I'm going to give you an NFL-ready player
Because the Colts are desperate,
now.
Jason. Did you see what broke Twitter last night? Andrew Luck retired.
He retired? No. Really? No.
I don't know. I mean, I think Rudolph's pretty good. Maybe it's because I watched him just kill Pitt 2 years in a row, and I just can't get that out of my brain. For me, I think the guys, for what they're trying to do, I think he's the guy that can do that.
Is he a future franchise quarterback in this league? I don't see it.
Well, I mean, they do, and the question is how long will it take? And we saw Garoppolo, to your point, Andrew, moved also from New England, and they got a 2nd-round pick, I believe. So, but you made a good point on also about do they need other things? And the answer is yes, they need depth at tight end. I haven't seen anyone distinguish themselves behind Vance McDonald, so there could be areas that they could look into, whether it's waiver wire, after cuts or in a trade. All right, let's move on from that. Well, I want to talk about the defense. It was a big problem last year. Not many turnovers produced. This year, they seem to be faster. They're getting players. They're making tackles sure-handedly, but they're also getting the ball out a few times here. Do you think that'll sustain itself, and how good will this defense be?
I mean, if they get to play the Titans every week, I like their chances. But prayers up for Marcus Mariota behind that line. You can't say that you are discouraged by what you've seen, but I still think, that's not the Patriots that they played tonight. I mean, it's not. And really, what's this team going to be judged by? It's going to be how they do against the other teams that they consider to be the elite teams in the AFC, whether it's the Patriots, whether it's the Chargers they have to go and play, or they have to play the Rams at some point. So, am I encouraged? Yes, but I really don't. It's hard for me to say any of this is going to translate once September 8th rolls around.
Yeah, and I'm with Will on this one. It's sort of tepid enthusiasm at this point, and sort of for the reason that Andrew mentioned with James Washington and Andrew Luck. I mean, look at who they're doing that against. I still have some questions about the secondary and Bud Dupree and how much pressure they're going to be able to apply to the quarterback, at least consistently. I mean, if they're able to do that, if they're able to cover like some of the stuff we've seen, if they're able to force turnovers like they've been able to do in the preseason, absolutely. It's just, look at the competition.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this defense. They got through the 3 games where the real players get on the field without suffering a major injury that is going to set them back. I think the little bits we've seen of Devin Bush, the speed is real. And I've watched guys like John Bostic try to police the middle for this defense the last 2 years to no avail. Sean Spence having to come off the couch in a playoff game. So I'm excited. I think the potential's there, Bob, for them to have a top 10 defense this year. And if you pair that with an offense that I think will be good, maybe not great, I think you've got the makings for a very balanced Steelers team, which we haven't seen in a while.
Jason, I want to ask you next. Give me some winners, some losers tonight. Guys who took a step forward to make the roster potentially, guys who did not and now find their maybe careers on hold for a bit. Who would you look at from tonight's game?
I hate to do this because I know Andrew's going to crush me, but I did like what James Washington did. I feel like somebody has to step into that number 2 spot, whether it's him or Dante Moncrief, and I liked what I saw from James Washington. Guys that took a significant step backwards tonight, I don't know if I saw anybody that really I look at any less right now. I thought Vance McDonald has certainly has had better games, but I don't look at him with any significant question.
If I'm Ryan Switzer, I'm not buying the green bananas. I mean, I really think when you look at Deontay Spencer has done, he's a guy that's actually made he's a guy that's a playmaker. And I think if you're looking for return guys, if Deontay Johnson's going to be the guy that's going to be your slot guy, your return guy, maybe that's the backup plan. Because Switzer, great dude. I have not seen anything this summer that makes you think he's going to be around.
When it comes to optics and what I've seen, I agree with you. But Ben came out and called Switzer Julian Edelman. So I would be shocked if they go against the franchise quarterback there when it comes to who the 5th or 6th wide receiver is. Bob, I think this, what is it, Tupac Shakur, skipper, the guy from Toledo, at outside linebacker, Ola 2.0, right?
Hey, how about Robert Spillane? He's another guy who's played well inside.
This guy makes plays all over the place, and I think he's in position to possibly get one of the final roster spots. And the guy who's out is Mr. Minicamp, Sutton Smith. I mean, fullback, outside linebacker. How about practice squad or just straight up cut by this team? This was his first audition tonight after missing the first 2 preseason games. I didn't see anything in Bob. Ed Bouchette said the other day on our show he doesn't think Benny Snell's spot on this roster is set in stone. He says very depressing training camp, not much, and he hasn't made any plays in the preseason.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. He's been average, been a guy who was in there tonight. Trey Edmonds used in short yardage. He's opened some eyes, and I think they really like him. We'll see. Those cut downs come after the next game, which is Thursday night on KDKA. When we come back, we're going to talk about Andrew Luck. Is there a comeback in his future? We'll get into that. It stunned the football world last night, but football season is getting started. So I would advise you to pick up a new #1 Cochran Chevy and do it right now and be ready for those tailgate parties and road trips. But you better get there fast because #1 Cochran Chevrolet Summer Clearance Event is well underway and it won't last long. Get the best offers of the season on all the big name Chevy players. You know what I'm talking about: Silverado, Traverse, and Malibu. Only at the new #1 Cochran Chevrolet Cranberry, formerly Kenny Ross, or you can visit CochranChevrolet.com. Andrew Luck, topic next. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better.